Derek. Welcome to the Champagne Room Conversations.
Nice to be
This
here.
space is really about taking a look inside a man's heart and giving it a voice, really finding out what is it that men are needing and desiring when it comes to intimacy, when it comes to love, when it comes to dating. And I am really excited because my guest today is Derek Hart. I call him the miracle worker, but I think formally we call you relationship vulnerability expert.
Yeah,
Is that correct? Yeah.
yeah.
So I am really happy to have this moment with him because these last couple of weeks I've been really diving into his videos and his Facebook posts and um, the videos that I watch where he's counseling couples, I leave with like a tears in my eyes because the work
Oh,
is so profound. You're really saving marriages and relationships. So it is a total honor. There would be no better person to give us a window
aw.
into a and man's heart, but also relationships in general. So thank you again.
Oh, appreciate that a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
so good. So I want to start with the inner world of a man. Like, what is it something that in your experience you found that men mostly like deeply desire from their woman in the relationship, but gets misunderstood or overlooked by their lady? Like, what is it that they wish that their partners would understand about them? Because it is true that men and women are very different brains and hearts
Yeah.
when it comes to
Yeah.
relationships. So sometimes I feel like there is just a misunderstanding. And can you pinpoint to that?
Yeah. And I'm going to try to give an answer and a perspective that doesn't make men and women all that different. And what I mean by that is uh, I teach vulnerability. Now, what does that really mean? That means that I not only have kind of a deeply vulnerable life myself, I model it, and I'm here to show couples how to make contact with each other in ways that they often never have.
Mm.
These patterns start in childhood, they go through all your relationships, and today you're in romantic relationship, maybe the most serious one of all, and couples have absolutely no idea why they're disconnected.
Mhm.
So you could, if you Google it or if you look online, what do men want? And it'll say things like they want to be respected, they want to be taken seriously, they want to be looked up to, they want to be admired, appreciated. And maybe women want some different things, but I think at the end of the day, we all want to be heard and understood. And that that can go into just such a big concept, but if I really define this and make it a little bit smaller, couples that start having problems, they hurt each other's feelings and then don't know what to do next. So somebody with just a glance, a sarcastic roll of the eyes,
Mm.
or just a single word paused in this certain way makes the other person feel bad. And that's the start in the first 3 to 5 seconds of a conversation where feelings get hurt. And the conversation literally becomes about the story and the content. You drink too much, or I'm concerned about your laziness. You don't help me around the house. All the stories, all the things we start talking about are not actually dealing with the thing that happened at the beginning of the conversation, which is you said this, I felt hurt, and we together have absolutely no path that we know to take to feel better soon. So, what seems like we're talking about trying to solve a problem of some kind, we actually have a conversation underneath that is called the conversation under the conversation, which is the following: My feelings just got hurt in 3 to 5 seconds from what you said, and I felt criticized, and you have no intention of criticizing me, and we do not know what to do from there. So tell me if this sparks
Yeah,
ideas or
that's
questions. Does it make sense?
yes. So in your room when they are with you, let's say they actually demonstrate some kind of a disagreement or it's already happening, it's all everything is already raw, they come to you. So you get to witness that
Yeah.
recovery and repair, right? Which I assume is why you do what you that's the rewarding, like, oh my God, two worlds are connecting. There's a saying, women are from Earth and men are from Earth, deal with it.
Yeah.
It's really that simple, but we like to complicate it. Oh, men and women, right? But so you get to witness that. So what what is it? Like, what is that bridge that you bring in that moment that then they can take home when next time they get to that heated moment when they'll forget what they actually talking about? So what's that? How do you guide them? And is there a difference between a man's and woman's need in that moment?
I, men and women are very different. And I write a lot about polarity and the differences in masculine, feminine, and all those ideas. But for the purposes of vulnerability, there is something that I cannot truly say after doing this for so many years, that men have a difference here and women have a difference here. To learn how to be vulnerable, to greatly simplify, is a feminine activity. And the reason why I point that out as a feminine activity is because for couples to stay like sexy and attracted to each other and feel like it's still hot and adventurous, they need to learn how to spend short bursts of time in vulnerability, how they've hurt each other and affected each other. But I want them to then do that so they can come out of that and have polarity and be masculine and be feminine. I want that to be there most of the time. But unfortunately, if you don't know how to do this small part, small meaning 3 to 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe an hour, you're going in circles, but learning how to make contact with how you've affected each other. If you can't do that, then all of the other things you're trying to do, all the polarity, a man being strong, let's say, being masculine and taking care of the woman and protecting her, all of that does not work. It is trying to fix the scenario by being confident and strong, but the woman is over here feeling like her feelings got hurt, and guess what happens? She'll start getting critical. She doesn't want to be critical, but she'll start saying things and going in circles and trying for sometimes decades how to tell him something didn't feel good. And he doesn't know how to hear it because he's bracing for impact that he's going to get it wrong. And that's the pattern that usually develops. And this can go in the opposite direction. I mean, a lot of couples, the man's critical to the woman. She's maybe a little more masculine, a little stronger, and he's a little softer, and he can't get understood. So it's more of the other, where the man feels like he gets criticized. I definitely believe men feel they get criticized more.
Yeah.
The women feel dismissed.
Uh-huh.
The women feel like they don't have things they need, which is accessibility. Is he accessible? Is he responsive? And do I just get a one word text message back? And is he engaged? If I say something deep and meaningful and he says sure or answers and even is very sincere, does he engage back in the conversation? Accessible, responsive, and engaged are just key.
Mm.
So I'll say one last thing. So you talked about, what happens in here if I see them in a conflict. What couples almost never know coming into any kind of marriage counseling, couples counseling, is that the way they're going to succeed is when they are taught how to make better contact with what's going on emotionally, what's going on inside, then how to reveal that to your partner. I got really hurt when you did this, but they have to learn how to say that in a way that has virtually no blame. And when they really learn this, they can say what hurt, and the other partner feels their humanness, their imperfection, and the partner will come towards them.
Mm.
That's the whole shebang. That's the whole deal of actually recovering permanently and becoming secure with each other again.
Beautiful. So sounds like the heart and that even just 2 minutes of vulnerability in the heart is the bridge that as long as that happens,
Yeah.
then we can go on for weeks and everything is fine. And then if there, as long as we come here, I mean, it makes sense. The heart is the middle, right? My heart
Yeah.
is kind of unifying force between everything. So
Yeah.
that's beautiful. So is there any fears that or vulnerabilities or like emotions that come up from a man, especially when there is that safe space created, like when they are in your room? Like, is there some revelations that even the woman didn't know that they needed, but because men are so accustomed to just shut up and act, instead of talk about their feelings, like they have needs. And, is there anything that comes up that is like, oh, wow, like I needed that, but I didn't get that from my woman? So,
Is there anything that comes up that the woman learns?
yeah, from the man, like, is there anything that comes from like when the man feels safe enough, when there's no
Yeah.
threat, when all the
Yeah.
guards go down, like
Yeah.
what is that comes from the man? Like, oh, that hurt. I didn't want that. I wanted this. Like
Yeah.
disappointment about the woman.
Yeah. Well, what a woman often doesn't know is how much he's really hurting.
Right.
She
Yep.
has no idea. She just thinks he's being a jerk, or she just thinks he's doing something on purpose, like being avoidant or dismissing her. And he's not doing that at all on purpose. He doesn't know what to do. So when she's upset, the worst thing in the world is happening for a man. He can't make her smile any longer. He can't make her happy. When a man can't make the woman happy, that actually begins churning away at him. And then other things happen, like a really big one for men is, you know, we're not having sex, right? We're not
Uh-huh.
having sex anymore. And that's something where the woman says, well, there's no way we're going to have sex. I don't feel safe. Why would you think I can have sex now when we're not feeling comfortable and close like that? But what she doesn't know are the deeper things going on in him about that. She knows he's upset. She knows usually that men are wired a little differently and might be more sex focused, not always, but she knows that that's a thing. And what she doesn't know is he hurts inside. He feels rejected. He feels alone. He can't touch the woman he loves. He can't make contact and have that physical closeness. And that hurts here. And he has no path to telling her this in a way to engender compassion from her about his pain.
Mm.
Without being able to do that, they're not going to come into contact with each other. They're not coming back debating behaviors. If they, and they do sometimes though, they come back and they fake it. She'll maybe engage in having sex, and she'll, do the right thing and do it because he needs it. And they're in real trouble if they're just forcing those behaviors without making emotional contact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. It's interesting. I started reading a book called The Queen's Code. Have you read that book?
Yeah.
My mind is blown, right?
Yeah.
Just the
Yeah.
style, how it's written. And there was this really, I'm just in the beginning of that, but there was this when the grandmother started teaching these two young women, and they get into this dialogue, about everyday life. Like she comes home and he hasn't taken the trash out, and she goes and just says like, why didn't you take the trash out? And the man has a single focus, so he's thinking his answer, and the woman doesn't get the answer soon enough. She asks another question,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
the man is like starting to shut down, right? And then the woman doesn't get an answer. She asks it the third time, and that's when the man just leaves the room and gets pissed. And I love the suggestion that the grandmother says, what if I want all of the women watching this. What if there was a really good reason for anything that the man does instead of
Well,
taking it
yeah,
personally? And it was such a
yeah,
profound, yeah, what if there was actually a really good reason?
yeah. You know what the worst question you can ask a man when if your relationship isn't really safe and secure? You know what the worst question you can
What
ask?
is it? What is it?
How are you?
Oh, why is that?
Because what he hears is very different. What he hears is, uh, uh, I want to know what's happening for you because I'm feeling an intimacy deficiency, and I want you to connect with me and tell me what you're feeling. And you're probably going to fail because you never live up to explaining something, and you always back away when I ask how you are. It's a
Oh,
test. It's a
oh,
test for him. It's
I feel
exhausting.
I feel that energy. I feel that, and I actually have experienced that myself. I'm not a
Yeah,
man, obviously.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, it works both ways, but the pressure that the men
yeah,
must feel in that moment, because whatever they're gonna say is gonna be wrong.
yeah. And what's so interesting is
Heartbreaking.
the woman doesn't also know a lot of things. It's not like the woman has the answer on what she needs, what she's saying is like the right thing to say. She is literally feeling what I often call an intimacy deficiency. She's not making contact with, wow, I really want to be in connection and I'm feeling separate and I'm feeling alone and I'm feeling like we're not connecting. And those feelings are very confusing. So, you know what? I'm going to tell him to do something, and when he does that thing, I think I'll feel better. So here it comes. How are you?
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a big setup for a fail. And the couple has no idea why that whole day feels bad.
Right, they don't even know that it's happening because it
No.
becomes such an autopilot of way
Yeah,
of communicating for
no
years and
idea.
years and years. Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
heartbreaking.
A little compassion for all of us, huh?
So much. Oh my gosh, all of us,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So you get to be in that room when they do that wall, that
Mhm. Yeah.
decades
Yeah.
long wall
Yeah.
tie starts brick by brick coming down, right?
Yeah.
What's that like for you?
That's the biggest gift of this whole thing, which is that, I mean, I started helping people in 1990, and I've been doing this a very long time. And what I didn't know were all the things that I obviously had to go through in my life to learn how real intimacy happens. And gradually, the stories became less and less that I needed to hear. Like, if you think about it for a moment, if you've ever been in a conflict with your close person, is there any piece of information that has ever truly solved it? And is there any sentence or paragraph or technical detail that has ever made somebody say, "Oh, I had no idea you thought I should do that. Now I get it. Okay, we're closer now." It's not gonna work. The only way we become closer, and the way I get to experience the miracles in this room, are when somebody finally says, yeah, I think about our relationship all the time, and I make up stories about you like you don't love me, and I don't know what else to do with that. And then I think about all day long how to come and tell you something that's bothering me, and I think about all the 5 ways, and I try to make it sound really good. And by the time I come and actually tell you, you get mad at me, and I am just powerless over changing this. So I know how to interrupt that by helping them in little slices see what they're both going through so they can get woven back together. It's quite amazing to watch.
Yeah, well, that was exactly my question, like what has to happen for the repair to happen? And I thought when you were saying what you were just saying, that was the way, if it comes from that vulnerable place of true honesty, if the other person can receive it, right? Is that where you were saying? Like if the other person isn't in that
Well,
place.
and most of these things are, it takes both of them. So can I make contact with my deeper emotions? Can I take something that makes me irritated, frustrated, angry, sarcastic? Can I convert that to the two feelings that are really going on underneath, which is fear and sadness?
Hmm.
Those are the bottom line emotions that I need to learn how to reveal. And when I can do that without blame, then I can get my partner to possibly digest what I just said. And if I'm in the room and someone does that really well, and then their partner doesn't believe it yet or can't digest it because they're too defended, well, then, then I move for that moment into them and what's going on in them. It feels unfair to them in some way. And they literally can't make sense out of why this beautiful, vulnerable thing that just happened doesn't go into them. So I'm there to slow that down for both of them.
Right. Because
Yeah.
it's very scary to all of a sudden get vulnerable, obviously. It's very scary
Yeah.
to actually,
Yeah.
because that has been such a survival mechanism, from, I mean, I'm speaking for myself. Like,
Yeah.
I'm actually lucky I have a partner who always says, if we have a little friction in just a moment where things could go this way, he always says, this is the moment, this is
Ah,
the most important moment.
yeah.
And I start getting like, I really don't want to go there because that means
Yeah.
I gotta get soft and I gotta get vulnerable and I gotta say what I'm
Yeah.
feeling. But he always says, this defines how
Yeah.
this day is gonna go. And I'm like, okay, trust the process. He always says, trust the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it
Yeah. So,
really
so, so, so
comfort,
sometimes,
you know?
so sometimes you work on getting soft, right? From what you just said, right? So
Yes, it happens. Yes.
I
Hmm.
want you to just take this in for a moment and just imagine that moment. And then just imagine if you gave yourself a little more honesty about that confusion right there in that moment. Imagine if you actually were just looking right at him and just slowing down. Imagine it if you did something like this, like, I don't want to get soft. No, I don't want to get soft. I don't know how to get soft. I want to be harsh. I want to be frustrated. And I don't like this. And I'm going to push you away and I'm going to lose you forever. And we're never going to talk again. Ah, right.
That
Okay.
would be that would be the second best option, better
Yep.
than the one that I am accustomed to go, which is shut down and
Yep.
defensive,
Yep.
walk out of the room. That would
Yep.
be probably a breath of fresh air.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. For
Yeah.
and that's something that I don't want you to, for example, like, I don't want you to memorize. I just named the most truthful thing that is a little vulnerable that's happening right now in that moment for you. I don't wanna.
Mhm.
And I want you to be witnessed by him
Yeah. That is
in
a
your
very
in your I
vulnerable
don't
thing.
wanna.
Yes, it's also very vulnerable.
Yeah.
That takes that witness, like you've got to be in the witness consciousness in these moments. Otherwise, you will be the victim forever and
Yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
things are happening to you. And oh my God, now I am going to lose this argument. But it's really like, oh, can I watch myself from here? Oh, I'm doing that
Yeah.
again. Can I tell my partner that I'm doing that again? And that's a whole other level of love, right? Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah, that's so cool. So let's say you're in that moment and the couple in front of you started to melt their icebergs. And so what happens to the man when they finally feel seen and understood by their woman? Like, is there something that visually happens for the man?
Well, one of the bottom lines is tears and, water in the eyes. And I've gotten really good at this craft because of how quickly my nervous system attunes to both people. So it's really about attunement. And attunement is the strangest thing because everybody has a different way that can really happen. If you think about most like movies, like most, especially like romantic comedies, when it's a simulation. So at the end of a romantic comedy, like when Harry Met Sally, let's say, right at the end of the movie, the couple's looking at each other, and the whole audience knows that they know they're totally connected almost to perfection. And that actually happens because something was hurting in both of them. I don't know. I haven't thought about When Harry Met Sally in a while, but in that movie, they like dated everyone else and didn't realize they were the ones that were meant for each other. Right. So that was painful the whole time. Right.
Yeah.
And at the end of the movie, he finally professes his love. Like, I like how imperfect you are and the way you order 10 times, when you order your food, right? And you make everything perfect. So I love all those quirks about you. And like, that was the vulnerable moment, but the whole audience knew they were connecting. Now, were they, I think she was crying. I think she said, damn you, Harry, something like that, but she had water in her eyes.
Mhm, mhm,
He didn't, but they were totally attuned. So
mhm.
you don't have to be crying, right? You don't have to be falling apart in tears, but I'm not here to have them attune the way I do.
Uh-huh,
If
right.
I attune and a really deep moment happens, I usually have water in my eyes. But everyone has a certain capability of crying, but it's do they know what's happening together? Do they feel like they both got the thing that hurt that I taught them how to repair?
Mhm.
Now, a lot of times they'll very quickly, just a couple sessions with me, they'll say, oh yeah, we got it, and they feel close and connected, and I know they're not there yet,
Mhm.
and i know they got
How do
and
you
i know
know?
they got more work to do.
How do you know that? Can you
it's
tell
it,
from couples, like, who can really hold it and who can't? Was it
yes, yes, and it's not about holding it, it's about the thing that gets recognized that we need to be understood about is so deeply personal to us. So I try to stay out of like 10,000 word arguments and take the idea of the man who uh, his wife won't have sex with him anymore. Like, it's really stopped. Okay. Well, think about for a moment how heartbreaking that is. Okay. If we are talking about a topic like that, such a serious topic, and the couple's looking at each other, okay, just slow down for a moment here. Just imagine the resonance that you would see. It's literally a facial expression. It's like, does she understand the magnitude of pain he's going through as he walks around, the planet during his day? Did he actually express how hard on him this really is? Did she express how how hurt she's been of him just trying to take advantage of her physically when they're not emotionally connected? Just imagine the pain of all that. So it's like, did that get revealed really? Or
Mm.
was it just an intellectual understanding? Like, did she say, wow, I could see that. I could see, sex is very important to men. That sounds really hard, sweetheart. That is not deep enough. But when she is looking at him like with eyes that are brand new, like I had no idea, no idea this went beyond just the physical. Like, I had no idea you think about this all day long and you've been contemplating, calling an ex-girlfriend. I had no idea
But
this
what
was
I hear
hurting you.
is the tone. I can
Yeah.
feel the vibration, I can feel the tone is
Yes.
the key, because you
Yes.
drop in and you really hear
Yes.
versus, "Ah," you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I have a school called Attachment University where I train coaches and therapists how to work with couples. And I literally sometimes pause it and go frame by frame to show a face that moves from shame to remorse.
Mhm.
And you can actually see the face can make 10,000 expressions, and you can actually see the difference.
Wow.
And when that happens, they connect, and that's the only way to make this a permanent solving of their relationship struggle. It must happen emotionally, or else they need someone like me on and off forever.
It goes into the somatics, like, you wanna see that dropping into the body, also the
Yeah.
nervous system shift,
Yeah.
not the mental. Yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
I want my nervous system to talk to your nervous system.
Right.
And I want to see that they learn how to do that. I go to kindergarten a lot. My favorite thing is when I get a couple and like he's a psychiatrist and she's a psychologist and they have no language of vulnerability because they have all the words. So
Mm,
I just go to kindergarten and we start talking about swing sets and peanut butter and jelly and then
love,
they're crying.
love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
good. I love how you take them to their
Yeah.
bodies and, hearts. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you. I want to talk about single men.
Yeah.
Do you have single men that come to you? Yeah.
I have in my groups men that came into my groups after years and years of being in a distressed relationship, and then they came to me, and we determined they need to leave. And I'm never gonna say because a wife didn't do the work. She just it was just I sometimes it's a choice she doesn't want to do it, and sometimes she can't, and it's a mystery why. It's the same thing. Sometimes he can't, and she needs to realize this. So yeah, many men have shown up to get divorced, and it's a couple people have actually met in my groups from that, and
Hmm.
it's quite fascinating that the skills to begin with a relationship starting with vulnerability, not pretending things don't exist, but really starting from that place is an incredible start to a relationship.
Yeah. So what is your perspective to men, single men, especially in this climate right now? Like, what do they struggle with in this dating culture? I actually had a couple of articles I was reading this weekend about. I didn't even know this, but there is like this on Reddit. There is this red pill community for men. It's really like where men go to complain about how women it's all everything is women's fault and they don't take responsibility and they don't have the permission to complain, and it goes really far into the gender wars and the red pill blue pill. Like, it's
Oh wow.
I was actually like in shock reading the article. I'm like, wow. And then reading about these communities, like what men are really suffering from. So
Yeah.
there's so much war. The politics have also entered the dating world. And so, how does someone who is single in this climate, especially a man, like, how do you go about it? Like, what's your experience?
Well, if I just comment for a moment on technology and what it's done for all of us, is we just simply have too much choice, and our dopamine is literally used up. The moment we wake up, we're on our phones and we're searching, and we use up all our dopamine. And what that means specifically is we don't have the uh, bandwidth to pick somebody like we used to and deal with it and connect and try to work out a relationship. When I had a couple clients in here one time, and I asked if they would show me uh, how they scroll when they do the dating apps. And they didn't know what I was doing. I was like, just pretend I'm sitting with you and show me how you scroll. So I started counting per second, and a couple of the men looked at 5 women's pictures in 1 second. And I was like, okay, 60 times 5. I was like, you could see 300 women's faces in 1 minute. And we are now kind of blind, deaf, and dumb to just picking a human, to just seeing somebody and making a go of it. So that has contributed to the commitments not happening. We almost literally don't know the reason for commitment in this day and age with dating. Like why would we do that? Like when I do in some of my articles and posts, when I write about like marriage or proposing, people I people literally think I'm it's ludicrous mentioning marriage. Like marriage is so the 90s. I literally get comments like that. And I'm like, wow, but our need has not changed at all, in 200,000 years, right? I want to be comforted when something is upsetting between us, and I need to know that I can reveal it and that I'll be heard. And that simple thing is what we all need. And we don't know how to have that. We don't know how to achieve that. Like we don't know that that is the main benefit of a relationship, to bring up the things that are the deepest hurts inside and repair them, which repairs your history, it repairs your past relationships, and it repairs your childhood. The greatest antidepressant of all time is the eyes of your partner, and we don't know how to make use of that well enough.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's almost like our commitment is now to that scrolling and that dopamine and not to another human, because it would mean all these things, and nobody teaches us in school how to do relationships. It's not taught. We're watching our parents do the best they can, usually totally failing. So
Yeah.
that's the model. Oh, and that's exactly part of the reasons why I am doing the champagne room, and also planning on having a 2 week challenge where, those who join, there's going to be a once a day, you're going to leave your phone in a car, you're going to leave it at home, walk your dog, go to a grocery store, uh,
Great.
leave your fucking phone home, and see if you can survive for an hour.
Yeah.
And my premise is that you will need to talk to another human if you're lucky, um, because you're not distracted. I told this to another woman I run into this weekend, and I said to her about this challenge coming up, and she goes, "Well, where do I then meet men?" And I said, "You have more likelihood of meeting a man when you're not looking down at your phone."
Yeah.
So it's so simple. And what happened to us? Ah,
Yeah. We're so far apart from each other. It's we think the digital quick moment with a person or a comment or a social media thing, we think we don't have 5,000 friends, you know.
that's
I
right.
have I mean, getting older, there's a part of me that's okay that I have less friends, because I was much more social, and that's okay for me. Except it is interesting. I was just talking to a person yesterday about how, I used to probably have, like 20 to 25 phone numbers memorized.
Wow.
And we don't, like, as a kid, as a teen, all my friends, all these phone numbers, and we don't have phone numbers, but we have 5,000 pictures that we can tap to call. It's very different. When I counsel people in their 20s and 30s in here, they they really feel like it's like a foreign language, this idea of opening and being vulnerable and slowing down to know that's what's needed. And they had the same thing happen in childhood as many of us. They got a little traumatized. Mom and dad weren't perfect, and they have those hurts, and those hurts need to be revealed and brought up. But it's getting more and more confused in this day and age, and people in their 20s and 30s talk very differently. I have to go really slow
Uh,
to even introduce them to the idea of, we hurt each other's feelings, and then we don't know how to repair that. They think, well, we talked about it, we repaired it. No, you didn't.
it's the
And it's
fact
going to end your relationship in the first 18 months.
that is That's crazy. And even if you land a date, through the dating app, and you sit down for dinner, you are so not, as far as I can observe or hear from people, you're not present with the other person, because you're still in the app when you're
Yeah.
looking at the person in front of you and
Yeah.
thinking, oh, maybe there's another, oh, who's over there? Oh, like we're not dropping in with, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm so glad that we grew up without cell phones. I have to say that. As much as there's
Yeah.
so many benefits like doing this kind of thing,
Yeah.
there's a lot of distant,
Yeah.
separation. So one more thing, like, about men who have a little different issue, like they're not so much on the social media, or but who have made enormous success, you know, CEOs, executive men who have created all the material and any kind of worldly success. Do you have experience of what do they struggle with when they want to meet a woman?
Well, they're in trouble in a way that they don't quite understand,
Right.
because having that success often means, I'm being very general here, but I've seen it a lot. That level of success for a man often makes them feel less tolerant of the struggle and growth of a relationship. So we are getting just more and more distant and away from each other. And he literally, won't struggle through the things that are really necessary to repair conversations that are hurting, because he's got the things. And in our culture, definitely in the United States, the things and money and status and power take precedence over relating.
That's right. Like my experience is that these men, they don't want to come home and continue working on relationship. They want
Oh,
to come home and almost like be back in the 1950s. Like I want to have a woman who's nurturing, doesn't give
right.
me issues, just feed me. Like it's
Yep.
almost like back in that world of the old school way. So I can that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And they don't give each other comfort. Even back in the, even back in the 1950s, they're it's like they had to deal with it. They
Yeah.
just had to.
Had to.
A fascinating thing that I've learned in my practice here is when I've worked with a couple that had an arranged marriage, from from another culture, like from India. And there's a part of that I have a really big problem with, because if, like, I worked with couples where they weren't sexually matched, and that was years of heartache. But couples that were arranged by their families, that smelled good to each other, that liked each other, that they just dealt with it because they had to deal with it, because there was nothing else in the way. And some of the deepest relationships I've ever witnessed in this room have been those. So that's been fascinating.
Wow, that
Yeah.
is fascinating. You really
Yeah.
can. There's no escape. This is it.
Yeah.
You know, I love it.
We want comfort. The biggest problem in relationship is when you're, 50 feet away, and I'm going to come walk through the house, and I'm going to come talk to you. And when I'm walking through the house, and when I'm getting closer, my nervous system tells me everything about the truth about how safe we feel together, how safe I feel with my partner.
Mm,
So that walk to see them is where literally further damage is happening in my brain to our relationship and to my safety and my well-being and how I feel in my life. Because walking 50 feet away to a partner who's probably going to reject me is
mm,
probably coming. And I'm anticipating that. And then that happens, and that reinforces this. And it's not until a couple is on their knees in agony about to spend $200,000 on divorce attorneys do they finally call me.
mhm.
And I wish they'd call earlier, but it usually takes that. Like it really usually takes that.
Yep, yep.
1 in 200 couples that come to me want to proactively learn vulnerability and prevent this from happening. Like 1 in 200. So yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
wow.
And the good news is we have each other, and we have this information and attachment theory. That's probably the closest thing people could start studying if they relate to some of what I'm saying. I'm on Facebook. I write like 10. I can't shut up right now. I write like 10 things a day,
I
and I put it on
noticed.
there.
I love it.
I'm just going crazy with it. And I want the world to understand attachment, because attachment has finally been described pretty well. Like it took about 35, 40 years to really, really describe attachment. Now we're at the infancy of knowing what to do with attachment
Right,
theory. And that's
Infant.
what I do. And I'm aware I'm in its infancy.
Mhm.
And that's why I'm building courses and things so people can learn the stages and steps to go there. And we're brand new at this. So read a book or two on attachment and take the words, anxious and avoidant and fearful avoidant and dismissive and all that and throw them away. Because if you tell your partner they're avoidant, they feel criticized, and it's
Mhm.
just the same argument you've been having, just with fancier psychology.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, better language, same hurt, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So to end with a softer, like more healing tone, what would be after, 30 years, right, working with couples and individuals, what's the if there was one single ingredient for love that lasts, what would that be? And I think I what would you say?
Um, right now, can you imagine if you've been in a conflict with your partner? Right? Just imagine that moment. It's pretty easy to remember, right? Just like you're in that, right? Just imagine if you looked at each other and first I'll do some words. Just imagine if you said something like, it's so painful for me when we're in conflict. I get really scared and I hide how scared I am. And it actually feels to me, it's almost like it threatens our relationship. And even though we know we're together and we're close, I actually literally think you're going to go away and won't stay with me. That's how much I get scared when we enter a conflict. That's a really human thing that somebody might feel resonance with that.
Mhm.
But now slow it down even more and imagine you're in that moment of a conflict. And imagine if one or both of you just looked at each other and just went, "Aw, just, aw, this is hard. This is hard for both of us." Like, oh, that's hurting, right? Because what detail are you really trying to find to feel better? And maybe that your word is not awe, maybe it's something different, but compassion is needed. And if you can't have compassion for the other person, have compassion together for the relationship. You
Yeah.
don't even have to look at each other if you're really hurting. Just sit next to your partner and then look outside at your relationship and go, "Oh, look
Mhm.
at that. That's a mess.
I love that. That's great.
That's a messy mess." It's so emotionally dangerous when a partner rolls their eyes at the other and you feel dismissed. It's
Oh,
completely
especially
dangerous.
especially in that moment.
Yeah.
Imagine you actually went so far that you let go of your pride
Yep.
and you took that leap. And then if you don't have a partner who is there with you on the same page and the same desire to repair and
Yep.
connect, that's it, right? Like how would you even
Yep.
how do you survive? You don't, right? Like if both people have to have that sense of urgency about, hey, this needs to be now addressed, right?
Yeah. I'm not like ultimately, where most people know the word abandonment. It's not that we're afraid of abandonment. We're afraid the person's going to hang up on us.
Yeah.
That's the real problem. To be in a room, if you're together in person and you're talking, and then to simply walk out of the room. And I know people just want to walk away and take a time out.
Yeah.
That that doesn't solve it. And I'm not saying taking a timeout's bad, but if you don't come back within a half hour or some time frame to resolve it and know how important that is, that's what causes every divorce. It is that we are describing why divorce happens. If you think there's any other story or concept that makes divorce happen, there is not. It is we don't know how to support each other when we hurt each other, and that's the key.
That's exactly right. Like, at least tell, "I'm coming back in 2 hours," or whatever. Don't
Yeah.
just leave and, I used to do that actually years ago. Yeah, and it took me so there's hope. If I can do it, you can do it. I have changed my ways, but so
Good
I
stuff.
am I am really so what I hear is the missing ingredient or the ingredient that is gonna, you know, be needed is either compassion or compassion for the third, which is the relationship. If you can't have
Mhm.
compassion for the other, at least together nurture the relationship.
Yeah.
Uh,
And it's always an improvisation. So somebody in real distress right now might hear this and think, I always have compassion. Like I send compassion. I try to love them. I do that and it doesn't work. Right. So that's what's really going on with you. So let's put a different set of words to that, which are something like, it's really hurting inside me right now because I'm feeling numb. I'm not feeling compassion. I don't know where to send compassion. I feel burned out. I'm really scared how much I feel disconnected in this relationship. I never thought I would think about, leaving this relationship, and it scares me to even think that's in my thoughts now. This is really difficult. So if that's the truth going on, that's really vulnerable.
so it's honesty more than
It's
compassion.
honesty, but it's not that thing we think of like be authentic. No, it's not that. It's honesty about your confusion, not knowing what's going on, not knowing how to fix it, how much you have no idea how to communicate well, and your relationship is really hurting and you're really scared. It's all the negative things that make you get honest, which is the only thing that brings your strength back.
Yes, the three words I don't know can
Yeah.
save a moment, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I don't know either, Derek.
The opposite of vulnerability is competence. Competence means I know exactly what I'm doing and I know what to say and I'm telling you my truth and I'm communicating well and you should be responding well to me. That's confidence. That's competence. And that's what makes the other person go away and shut down.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Feeling a lot
Yeah.
of different things. This is beautiful. I am
Yeah.
so happy. I have so much more hope now knowing you are in the world. And
No.
it's not stop. Keep posting, keep talking. I think after these last world events, I think we're really asked to not shut up, but do the opposite. Really keep building our own mission, whatever that is, and keeping,
No.
yeah. So thank you for doing your part so gracefully.
You're
And
welcome. And where
people,
do we find me and where do we find you? I'm at
well,
understandeachather.com.
yeah, that's the
And,
website. I want to definitely have those written
yeah.
above, below the
Yeah.
video somewhere.
And where do
And
we find you? How do I find you? Where do we find your world?
my world is going to be at the Champagne Room. So when these
Got it.
events are going to come out,
Right.
they're going to be all sequenced and it's going to be super
Okay.
fun. But yes,
Oh, can't
yeah.
wait to see.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you and your wisdom and your care for us humans. And God bless.
Rika, it was
Bye.
great. Great talking to you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Aw.